I went on a really fun trip this weekend around the Missouri River and had some really good deep conversations with some adult leaders. And they kind of give me some really good ideas and some good discussion we could talk about here. I'm gonna split them up in two videos, I think. They go together. So the first one is talking about, we were just talking about healthcare and stuff, because that's what I was talking about, right? I want to learn more about what I do for a living. We were talking about how I got this common thing about saying, oh, it'd be nice if we could just buy health insurance across state lines. I hear that common, like it's a typical trope of a certain political genre and stuff like that. So people say the same thing. I don't think they fully understand really the implications of it, but it actually made me click a little bit of some other thoughts I've been thinking about, because I was actually being a hypocrite. It's just saying it's kind of stupid because you can't manage risk that way. The reason why you can't manage risk is because you don't know the rating areas. You don't have contracts with doctors and physicians across state lines. It's difficult to do that. Also, how do you control your risk? Because everybody's going to buy that policy is the ones that are probably some states that they have expensive healthcare. They're going to buy this policy in this other state that it's cheaper to get into. And so it's going to create this unwanted risk pools, and it's hard to really kind of manage that risk when you're selling across state lines. So the way you get around that is there are policies that do this today, and they're what we call, they're fully underwritten. So it means that they're going to discriminate against who they accept. You have to pass their muster first before they want to let you on the plan. The issue I have with those policies right now is they're ran by companies that are not regulated by any state insurance companies, and so it's iffy of whether or not they're going to pay claims all the time. And then you have no legal where do you go legally when they don't want to pay claims or there's a situation? Who do you sue? There's no state insurance department involved here because you're buying it across state lines. So that creates a little bit of some issues there. But I was thinking about that. I'm like, you know what? It kind of goes along with what the things I want to do anyways with regards to opening it up so healthcare can be available to everyone. So I imagine healthcare should be, get rid of the employer coverage again and make it so everybody can compete on an equal playing field. Talk about pools in insurance. You make a pool of, everybody's in these different pools of insurance. You have Medicaid pool, you've got ACA pool, you've got employer pools, different pools that exist. And the reason why health insurance is cheaper in certain pools is because the group of people that are being insured, they don't have as much medical costs to deal with. And who you want to let into your pool, you can be discriminatory. Well, the problem is the ACA pool and a lot of these other pools, they can't be discriminatory, so they have to take you regardless. And so it becomes really kind of difficult, and the costs go up and up and up in those pools because they get unfortunately, they get expensive to run, those expensive pools. And I keep thinking the fact that, well, yeah, pools can exist, but you know what's really works really well is the ocean. It's got a great system of keeping things clean and whatnot. It'd be nice if everybody could compete on an equal playing field, and that would make a lot of sense. So my thought was, well, the issue is maybe when it comes to billing and maybe there's a better system out there for making it so doctors and contracts, the way they bill insurance and these contracts and how they get reimbursed, maybe there could be a better system set up, a more universal system that can exist. Like Brentwood already exists, and that's called the Medicare system. The Medicare system works, and it is probably the most universal one that we have, but the Medicare system is a little bit convoluted and it doesn't work like everybody thinks it does. I think there'd be a better way to do it. I just don't know how to do it, to be honest. I think that'd be a challenge I think I want to discover and maybe dive into more. Maybe create some kind of company that can do this, that can make a better billing system for doctors and physicians that does not use the traditional CPT codes that the Medicare system uses. Because insurance companies have had to piggyback on the same things because the Medicare system's already in place. And then the way they're reimbursing and the benchmarks they're doing there. Maybe we just reinvent the wheel. Maybe we can redo that. That'd be an idea for you. And that can make competition easier across state lines, per se. Second, comes to my idea of the fact that maybe instead of across state lines, maybe let's just open up the states individually. Right now, each state, they separate their risk pools into typically 4 rating areas. So typically you have a rating area of certain demographics in each state. Usually you have your rurals that are more sparsely populated in one rating area, and then you have your metropolitan areas typically in another rating area. So people live in metropolitan areas, there's a lot of people there, there's a lot of ways to pull risk, it's a lot more safe, they have access to medical care, and typically their rates are a lot cheaper. And they have a lot more choices in those popular places versus if you live in a rural area, you don't get those choices because you're higher risk pool, you're a lot fewer people to work with, and so it's a lot more difficult to cover care. And so your health insurance costs are a lot more expensive in those rural areas. So those rating areas get higher costs. A lot of insurance companies do is they come into these states and they're saying, I want to play in this. I only want to play in this rating area. I don't want to play in these other rating areas because that rating area is the most profitable. I don't want to deal with these rural areas. They're just not profitable for me, and it's kind of risky. Well, what if maybe a legislative thing we could do is from a state, if you want to help for health insurance in my state, you have to treat my state as one whole rating area, and you have to offer insurance to everybody that lives in that state. Now that would change things drastically. Now I could argue there's some states, maybe they're too big, like maybe California, where that might be a little more difficult to do, or even partially, I could even argue Montana, but honestly it'd be better for Montana if we could all be one big risk pool, to be honest. But if you're gonna all be one big risk pool, and these insurance companies have to compete and say, I wanna offer insurance to your entire state, how much more profitable it can be and better for everybody that lives in the community as a whole. Because what happens is you get this ability to have these people living in these rural areas get cheaper health insurance. And maybe these bigger communities pay a little bit more to offset the cost of those rural communities. And so everybody's paying the same rate in the state. And so it doesn't matter where you live in the state. You can still get access to medical care and get the same exact access to the same doctors without having to worry about paying out the wazoo to be able to access your medical care. That would be a really cool thing to do. So instead of saying, let's cross the straight lines, let's make it so you can buy in your own state the better coverage and get rid of the stupid rating area things. Same for Medicare Advantage. Maybe instead of letting them only offer insurance in your one county, make it so you have to offer that same exact plan in the entire state. The same plan, not different plans because of different rating area, different county. Have this ability to offer the same plans. That can change things drastically just in your own state. So maybe we can write legislators. Maybe we can have a state that's willing to try that out and see what it looks like. Because I'd be willing to bet that could be a good starting point to where we can maybe open things up. And you also have the same state regulatory body managing all that, these insurance companies, and making sure they're being legal. That'd be kind of cool.